Dua kanji dana jatamba damji kweda daga judan do. Ono zo majuru nam kwenda don nyamba mazam je dama je je don do. Tuja dardigla na manjiva yon tabara taba zonji chung kwansir. Yonde kandenji komarambo je denyo da jani jan do barja. Ode do barja vijar da daba jembo tamba chuzamo senyambur. Kono kanshu ji ramba tamji jiden lama tamba chauji jan sardavde sembar.
Please listen to the teachings by generating their proper motivation and the conduct in accordance with the tradition of the lineage lamas, by thinking that for the benefit of all mother sentient beings that pervade the infinitude of space, that I must attain the unsurpassable, pure, completed state of enlightenment, free of all the mistakes, fully completed in all the qualities and knowledge. In order to attain this state, that I'm going to listen to the pure Mahayana teachings.
Oda dini da zambar java da damba chudi jiga sanji jomden di rangye yana yang jang kansi yang den kanden ji sanji jiga kwambang jiga toba jiga ridi niwa kanga yanla chu tamba nita tamji tarshamba jiga yana yang chu sanya de yang jiga jataran tsamba darji jiga jala tini Chitan Samba Dersha, the Tar Imba and Do, Lord and Tamachi Laju, Tami on the Chu, Dudu Chudan, Lord Drana did on Samba, Gidi and Samba Chudan, Lord Ravlayon did on Samba, Yoshi Tsu de Homoa, Josia de Homoa, what you think I would do some shit guadi. So Tennis on I see in Bay and do Yamne Jija de on the Rambashi Tenisi Guachi ending.
So the teachings, the pure Dharma teachings, as taught by the Buddha, free of all the mistakes, qualified in all the knowledge and positive qualities, in having attained enlightenment, fully completed all the power and potency. And when the Buddha gave the teachings, then he gave the teachings in accordance with the mind level of the sentient beings to be subdued. For those of low mental capacity, then Buddha gave more brief presentations of the teachings. For those of a medium mental capacity, then Buddha further extended upon those teachings or elaborated upon those teachings. And for the very best of the minds, for the very best of the capacities, then Buddha taught much more detailed in words and in subjects. So for these reasons, then you have these Prajna Paramita Sutras, the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, in the brief, medium, and the elaborate version.
Ojuda dinner you in by and do you a burner jing as we mara tonra jika jiwa yana tila konjong monjongo tonja meeting. Chargent of what you couldn't charge a meal on them goni tonju mara she go you are and do charge tila tombo maran chargi jedend of what dilang temperature yona menajana yaranda tavada tea jedon lamsi jedi tea tony tonja tabdan shiravniga mandugun and drove lambda wood in the ending Islam. Then devoted Mugir Kazanchi Yoba Mugir the Zoni, or that in Dragalism, somewhere Goni Sanji Jagu, Peti, Naja, Maranova Sanji, Chun, Dui, Dosako Chunamne Jiva Yananda, Masako Chunamne Jiva Yananda, Contarjon Kongala, Jalamdism, Jusawaji, Gugu, and do what you that is, Shiguadi, Junishugi.
So just like when we engage in our businesses, we don't go about engaging in businesses without any kind of plans or objectives. When we engage in any kind of works in our life or businesses in our life, then we have some plan, we have some foundation to, some basis upon which this plan can run, and then we have the objective goal of that particular business, the profit. So in the same way, on the path to enlightenment, then in order to engage in the path, then you have the method and wisdom by which one engages in the path, and then you have the objective goal of that path, which is the attainment of enlightenment. So just like how we, initiate our business, run our business, and have the objectives of profit of that business, in the same way, in our objective to attain enlightenment, then that should have the similar format of having a basis, path, and a result. So that is that is the case whether one engages in the Sutrayana practices or the Tantrayana practices, that it should run a course of having a basis, path, and result.
Anjida dinda yinba yendu da namba sang jiwa chun do da nga gongga yina nyamlen jiwa lan charji che ya di nangan zana gubol rub ka song tanda ga nga sun tong yinba jinchak samba ga nong na giwan da yi jiwa ka sonami yi jinchak soba sonami yi shi li zong tamba ga ni tobari chawo se ji ti nong na wajidan charji di mar song yuwa ri wajida giwan da yi jiwa ka sandu jiga gosam ga giwa nikab ko Luji Goni Saba Giva, Noka Goni Saba Giva, Iji Goni Saba Giva, and Tempeshi Yanayang, Tia Maraji Dendra Waji, and Jin Charji, the Tonga Mutendra, Mudang Dava, Tindaji, Ti Tani, that Sonami Shin Sosa, Sonami Lijon was the Luna, Sonam Dang Shin, Sony Senanda, Taji, Lamni Senanda, Nigachiba and Bay and do Shalam Disam Ganani, Lamdi, Taji Niga, Lam Jenin Rugu. Then Roa Yanan Diva, the Tamba Kani Saduna, John Conse on their Condengo Sanjigo, Kozuti Sukotan, the Tujakan Chamber Chiti Chuku and Bay and do Tamba Kani, Chuzuji Kani body, Tonga Muginda, what the Toyago Cheto, what you that it of a Jalamdism Songachu, do it any Namnejina, you ding, Moko Teni Namnejina, you ding, Shini Gumnayon, you ding, Longtong Gumnayon, you ding. Tandago Chauchengo Chundayon, Shinita Longtong Gomago, Taji and Bay and do the Drago Marajalam, Tomaji, Chedi, Nombasanju, Tomama Yemba, that you Chichi ending.
So when we take a prayer of dedication from a text known as the Treasury of Space by Nagarjuna, within that there's a prayer of dedication which says, due to the the power of the collection of the two types of merits, the merit of virtue and the merit of transcendental wisdom, may all due to these merits, then may all sentient beings attain the two pure Buddha bodies. So whatever merits we accumulate physically, verbally, or mentally, all of these merits, which form the base, the activities, the virtuous activities that we take upon the basis of the activities of our body, speech, and mind, then these merits, which is basically merits that we accumulate from employing method and wisdom, due to the path of method and wisdom, then we have the merits of virtue and transcendental wisdom. And so as a result of this, then what is attained are the two pure Buddha bodies, the two the form body of the Buddha from the and the truth body of the Buddha, the Dharmakaya, which is the transcendental wisdom knowledge. So like this, just as it is here in this prayer, you have the basis, the basis of all you have the basis and the path, employing the method and wisdom whereby which one accumulates the merit, and the resultant, the two Buddha bodies. So whether one engages in the practices of the Sutrayana path or the Tantrayana path, then in all of this, then you have this the same format of the base of having the basis, path, and result. And even if one engages in the practices of the calm abiding and the special insight, meditates on, it still employs the same format of the basis, path and result. And likewise, when one engages in the meditational practice of the Mahamudra, which is a method which is again a method for meditating on calm abiding, and the special insight also employs the same format. So this is the special characteristic of the form of attributed to the practices of to the Buddhist practices.
Oji da dinda yamba yandu ji da dinda ga da danda shuwa na jen ji ga soli ka tawni na yang mar ji tsangli ka ji jiwa yana yang tela nduglam ti yo ding nduglam ti na ni mar tsang ji gu wa dang chuyang ne yana yang chu nyam ne ji ala yang do go nyam ne ji wa yana yang tela mar chuja go ji ga tham se na da do tang go tham tang bu ji go ni lam dinda go ni nyam ne ji gu wa shi dan char ji yelam dis tsang ji jiwa na ti no na ti kong ga chang di yu ding nga go go ni nyam ne ji wa ye na wa tin da ji go go yu wa yen du ji ge thang ma ran do ngo ni ge no ni nga go nyam ne ji wa la thang ma ran du yi nyam ne ji ne ji we chen de chang sam go lam ru se na da ti nang ge nyen ke di wa de lam su nam sam ma ra chang wo go ni nyam ne ji ti song sen na ren ba ji ne da de ni je ni ti je de ti ten ni ngo ji nyam ne ji go ji yen ba yen du. So,
whatever political activities or business activities, you follow a certain discipline or a certain principle, whereby which one carries out that particular activity. In the same, the same goes for the, for our spiritual practices in the context of sutra practices or in the context of tantric practices, that one should follow a certain principle or certain discipline. Here, in this case, being having the basis, path, and result in its complete form in order to base the practices of sutra and tantra. So, in order to engage in the practices of tantra, then first and foremost, then one should train in the practices of the sutra. The practices, becoming familiar with the path and practices of the small, medium, and the high scopes, path and practice, the three capable beings path, the essence of which is basically the three principal aspects of the path. So with this as one's foundation or as one's basis of spiritual practice, then, with this as the foundation, then you, on the basis of this, then you employ the tantric practices. So in this way, one is able to engage in a unified practice of sutra and tantra.
Oji da dinda yamba yandu ji jiram bu jimara sanggo lamram da dudu ga nani dushu shanla pongju senanda yonde jijir me nana yang igi ngo na jiwa chende changsam ga lamram sanggo yuwari yuga ni thamo lam jan no de jirwa na taba kanjin chokjir durji ta kardan jiwa nyingo damba di delang nyertan jig se na oji dan dosha ga jiwa chende changsam ga lam de ngao dan do nigi thamo ga lam yese du na niga la gu yiden tabe chi yamba yandu thamo lam de ngon de jan char ne teni jeni ngola ji gogori songa chigdang yang lam ro di dong se ji nyam gro ka na na te tar jedang ri we tak jen ji lam jang ni kar gu thamo lam ye jen chen ni se teni jeni ngola ji gogondi songa chi o ji da tin da go ji ji ro mo ji sangga ba sangga lam ro chi jang kang ga na yang do dang ngo ni ga ren ba jen de nyam ne ji go songa de ning go yu ding.
So likewise, when we take, the writings of Lama Tsongkhapa's Lamrim, the condensed Lamrim, or within the Lamrim, which is the foundation of all good qualities. When you take a verse from there, it says that, having made myself a suitable receptacle through having trained in the general or the common path, then may I engage in the most supreme of all vehicles path, the Vajrayana path. The path which is engaged in or traveled in by all the fortunate ones, by all of the fortunate ones. So in this way, likewise, Rinpoche quoted another Lamrim, basically emphasizing the very same point that whether one upon engaging in the practices of Sutrayana or the Tantrayana path, to have the foundation or to have trained the mind in the common path, and to have this as the basis or to have this as the basis or the foundation of one's one's practices. So in all of the presentation of Lama Tsongkhapa's great exposition on Lamrim, or the more condensed Lamrim, in all of them, then it very clearly emphasizes and states the importance of the stages of the practice in first and foremost, training the mind in the general or the common path, and then on the basis of that, then engaging in the tantric practices.
Oji da dinda ju yinba yendu ju da dinda go ngoni da ngan su ju chok chen gomya se ju di yin je kar se go ye sheni dang lang dang gomya go no an du di yo ding dinda yinba yendu sheni dang lang dang se ju di do shak chong wa go sheni dang lang dang gomya ju oji da do shak go lam ju sheni dang sam go lam di ten ni ngo dong go song den je ngo ji lam gomba yen na ngo ji sheni dang lang dang gomya ju de yo yendu da kam di chok chen ni song ya go Shaktian Gomyadi, Ngakon, the Shiva Yimba Yendu, Ngakon, the Shina, Yanji, Jidi, Yomanani, Nanjo Lami, Jenny Marajida, Cheram Dan, Zoram Siji, Cheram de Shini Gomyaga, Korean Dingi, Zoram de Hangtang Gomyaga, Gomyamba Yendu, or that in Raga Shaktian Siji, Lami, Cheram Dan, Zoram Gombatani, Gomji Yimba Yendu, Tele Laks, Shaktian Siji Laks Meding.
So when meditating on the Mahamudra, then which basically is a practice which incorporates, the training in the calm abiding and the special insight. There is no Mahamudra practice which is not included within the practice of calm abiding and the special insight. So you have the Sutra Mahamudra, and you have the Tantric Mahamudra. The Sutra Mahamudra then is founded on having training in the three capable beings, path and practices, and then you have Tantric Mahamudra, generating the calm abiding and the special insight through the tantric practices. In the tantric Mahamudra, then within tantra you have the 4 levels of tantra, and then here in this case, then it is categorized in the highest yoga tantra practice. In the highest yoga tantra practice, then you have the 2 yogas, the 2-stage yogas, the generation stage yoga practice and the completion stage yoga practice, and within the generation stage yoga, then you accomplish the calm abiding, and within the practices of the completion stage yoga, then you cultivate the special insight. So this is the Mahamudra in the context of the highest yoga tantra. So,
Talent Tradan Jutai, Jucheran Gandala, Tela Savani, Marji, Chini Goya, Danhona, Goya, Siju, Magangala, Maraketong, Jingiga, Younger Yuariwa, the switch any Gomdan, Gomdan, Tedan, number Sanji, Chenitan, London, Dosaka Chenitan, London, Moko Chenitan, London, Maratazo, Marakarasego, or Jida, Yanjin within a ship dirigina, a charging of Conga Karasangandu, you can only carry Yakandu, the Tindago Shemji, Guachi Rimato, the Kashimara Tela, Maraketo, Yuadis, Gomba Yena, or Yapoji, you, Jerry. Nigina ni ji jalam disam chong charge da den ba kong yem de to ji gu ji kar chim bo ji ending.
So, you know, in the Thai tradition, in the Sri Lankan tradition, you have the practices of calm abiding, and the special insight, you know, which is very well known or popular, and then you have, you know, in the context of Tantra, you know, within the practice of the Tantra, then the incorporation of the practices of calm abiding, special insight, you know, incorporated. So again, so one should investigate to see, you know, to look into each of these practices and see what are the advantages and benefits on, you know, the advantages, benefits of these practices. You know, one shouldn't just follow because it happens to be the popular thing to be doing, but rather one should investigate them for their you know, features, whether it incorporates the basis, the path, and the result, whether it is a complete form of practice in the way, with respect to you know, such a foundation.
Oji da dinda yamba yendu dinda ga kola ji sanji jomne ndi ranya ga dinda song yuarwa. Oji gelang takam kinam ji sakti darwi sirjan da labar tawla ngayi ka longwari shayi kishar masin. Oji da takshu yaku ji na dinda ngi she jaga di ji jansen dang denpa, kong dang denpa, yang taba ji yamba tanga yo na di mara nyamlen ji, di mana yang ji jansen man tang na ngi she jaga re se na kiwa ji guwa yuwa ma re se na da labar tawla ngayi ka longwari shayi takshu ji na ngayi ka len gugore ma taw kishar masin di na kiwa jansen man tang kiwa zan shiwa goni nyamlen jiwa di panta yuwa ma re se na songa di nyingo dinda ji ending.
So therefore, therefore one can see how the Buddha himself in his time stated to his disciples, saying that, you know, that one should that they should practice the teachings of the Buddha due to having investigated or analyzed them well, and by seeing logic and reasoning and the validity of these teachings, only then should they accept the teachings of the Buddha, rather than to take it as their practice out of respect for Buddha, or, you know, without seeing any reason or logic, but you know, doing it just out of our respect for the Buddha. So, you know, the saying, just like how you examine gold upon you know, upon such an analysis through seeing logic and reasoning, then one should take up the practices rather than out of you know, respect.
Oji de don't chanta jumara sejone na ji sangkong kang ga no ne sang ga jalo mo ji yuwa ri di sangkong ro na so su mi sangkong na ga jalo de sa chen bo dang yak shi ma sing yuwa ma ri wa di ye na kang ga no wa sang ne di jalo ga ran tang je ka ri zama ma ba ngoni wa ka ri kong chilo ka ze ri se ne tak chu yo bo ji ne di tang jam na gi sen yang gi yuwa ri wa di ma yin ba kha sam la要会有要训练是这样的，第一咱们就呢长期参那样，那旁边个你几个样个有话别电脑认定。
It's just like in our own secular life when we go about doing our shopping. You know, you know, you know, one doesn't only rely upon the salesperson saying how precious this is and how you know, who expresses so much. One would analyze the value of that object for oneself to see, you know, whether it is. What it says, you know, that one doesn't encounter some sort of false thing. So otherwise, if one just takes it at the face value of what is, at the face value of the salesperson's talk, then, even if you make that purchase, you might make a loss on it. So in the same, just as how we examine things upon our, everyday purchases, in the same way, then, before one takes it to one's commitment or practice, then one should investigate these things for oneself.
So like the
this was just a general talk on Sutra and Tantra. So going back to the text, we were talking about Kyudo Kyumbo's six dharmas of the Niguma. So we'll just go through that.
Naru chutuka chutu seata, naku chutuka chutu sea, niga parchir, Randavo Younger you are the men dotom Mandavari you are mata, that the Naku Kanduman, Nakumi, Yamanga chutula, Dijang, you go chutu body, that on Bunda Younger you are chutuna, what you Tomo Gomiati, Naru chutukanona, you are Tomo Lamji Mondos in the or that chutukanona is on you are. Jing Kombaji Java in a Tomaraji Shazoni, Subaji Tango, you are super Mando, super Masadi, Tembuji, Yango, you are and do, did on Chandravati, that Tomoris and a Tomolamji Mondos and a Chutukatambo, so you ding.
So, like the 6 yogas of Naropa, then you have the 6 dharmas of Niguma, which is similar, except for how it is labeled, and then so the practice of the tumo is like the foundational stone, like the cornerstone, like when you when you build a house, you need you have the foundation walls like that. In the same way, so like the cornerstone or something like that. Then the practice of the tumo, which is practiced within the 6 yogas of Naropa as well. Then here is the first of the 6 dharmas, which is regarded like the foundational cornerstone of the 6 dharmas.
Zoram Gomyadi, Tomo Gombo, good, Denis, Zoram Gongo was to go away and do that. Timbaji Tomolamji Mondusiva did on that. Nagi Chin, you are the Carizena, or that Juludan, or Sanigan only Juludi and by and do Julu Chowdon on Dorothy, or you that Julusi de Gumbayana, Chavijan, Shildon, you got around Durgin, Tunrogan, Senate, or Eugene, Julu Gomyadi, Nakami Chutukan on in Yuang.
So, within when you have the practices of the father tantra and the mother tantra, then when engaging in the completion stage yoga practices of the mother tantra, then the tumo, the meditation practice of the tumo, is the first and foremost. So, in this way, it is regarded as the foundational cornerstone of the the completion stage yoga practice. And the second of the 6 dharmas is you have a illusory body and the clear light. So here it is the illusory body, which frees, it naturally liberates. This practice, second dharma, the illusory body, which kind of naturally liberates us from attachment and clinging. Chakshan.
What you that in Rayan Bay and do Jeludi, Pajimajin, you can only Pajiswan, you and Samantha Sony, so Songandi, Jitamji, Jerbu Sonyadi, Julu Surti, Tonyadi, Pajimaji, Kunjinani, Pajitinani, Pajuganani, Gay Samanta, Songandi, Jenny, Julu, the Surton Jagaimba Yandu, or Juda Julu, Ozani, Yamne, Giala, Julu container, Surton Zati, Songandi, Yandu, Tela, Yamne, Gogo, Yandu, Julu, and the Pajuganana Uding.
Again, in amongst the father and mother tantra, the elusive body is the principal point of exposition of the father tantra. Especially in the context of the Guha Samaja tantra, which is regarded as the king of the tantras. The direct or the principal exposition of the Guha Samaj Tantra is the practice of the illusory body. So one should rely on this tantra in order to instructions or guidelines in order to engage in the illusory body practices.
Oji dinda yamba yandu ji maje kong de chino nyamne jongi ji yamba yana julu de bhaje na yuwa de sharmbang de jaga yandu suwo tena tongu yuwa yandu teni sar len gogo yuwa yandu dinda ji.
So when one is engaging in the mother tantra practices, since the clear direct exposition of the practices of illusory body is in the father tantra, then one should take the guidelines from the father tantra on illusory body, as instructions in order if one is doing the mother tantra practices.
Oji dadi nakami chu niwa dan chu samba de malam nyantar rong song se oji da malam go kabza da karsan so shuwa na jeri shantan traba long sim tramu shakjen la yirjen shakjen de shuwa tramu jiga teni nyamne jigo go yuwa yandu yirjen shantan traba sim tramu de jongo nikab de malam go kabna jongo go yuwa yandu malam nyantar rong song se de na malam go teni niji osar da so gombo teni oji da jondar jigo go yuwa yandu da de chu samba si jo yu ding
Rinpoche milam
malam nyon chir rong song malam da nye se dinan di nye di kar se go yan lag dang nye lag se ji nye teri di yamba yandu kar se go yang ji malam la malam dam da yuwari malam sarwo da malam sarwo mengi yuwari But Nye Lagna Malam Mamio Kaji Yuarua, the Dunya Tubola Sandina, Malam Tango Miati, Nakta Sandi Dina, Malam Shivadi and Tramudi, and one the Jiriona on Servo Mebuto, Gumpematangi, Malam Tanya Dina, Giana Nasaba, Zang and Nasaba, Nyan Guyua, and Malam Gashu, Nani, Nyankunda, what in a bay and do Nyan Teresi.
Do you have a term for it?
As you got to go, combine dans la bagne d'un gros somebody, yan lava security. Yan lava said you not teen on Sigo, and the way and the way hormone te want to yan la canoni on Chashi, yan of the embassy and Dunya, yan lava security. What them young Malam Tango Kala, sometime on what the Kirti you are ready, Malam Sarvo Mini, Makaji, Malam Chitan Sandi, then Damizan Sarvo, Shia Mandisi, you are Tino, Malam Sarvo Chiga, Chigambala, to good ding in that, Chizang and Asavach, Sarvo Maran, Zinton, and Sarvo, you are Tin on Siga, Tisik, you are.
The third Dharma, the third Dharma is the Dharma of the dream, practices of the dream. It's a sub-branch of the practices of the dream yogas. So here, when we go to sleep, we experience what is known as the subtle mind, and here in the context of the practice of the subjective mind of Mahamudra, then what is employed here is the subtle mind, the the subtle wind and the mind. So this is what is employed when one generates the subjective mind of Mahamudra. So in the dream, so when we experience the dream, sometimes when we have very, very heavy forms of sleep, because the sleep is too thick or heavy, then the dreams do not appear. One is not aware of the dreams. Then the dream is sort of unclear. So and then when this is sleep, but when one is not experiencing a particularly heavy sleep, then when one dreams, one is aware of that dream, and in that dream, then one has these, one has experiences of the. Appearances of the dreams, which are good or bad. So here, the third Dharma is the engagement of employing the Dharma in the context of which one employs the clear light of sleep.
Niji wazara di niji wazara nila ba ka di nani jang malam tangwa ta ka malam sarvo me ba ka mayimba malam sarvo jiyo ba di.
So in order to engage this particular yoga, which is the clear light of sleep, to engage it is at the time of the dream, when the dreams are very, very clear. So when we sleep, you have times when the dream is completely, one is not aware of the dream because of the thickness. Then you have you dream, but it's not very, it's kind of hazy or blurred. Not like that. The employment of the clear light of sleep is at a phase of a dreaming when the dreams are absolutely clear. Lucid. I thought you were saying lucid.
Oji dadi na yamba yandu dadi na ku churu ka nani chu samba ta chu yaba di osara yandu jili osara yogo nigi osara si jo di yamba yandu yang jili ko nyamne di bhajye ko songa diwa songne sar len gongi jiwa tana yuwa yandu osara ko ramba di yang bhajye songna yang osara dudu chu mata song yuwa mari osara jishu di majye ko songna song yuwa yandu majye ni song osara ko nyamne di oji da osara si jo di la yang yiro osara dang yir osar ni yuwari, yir osar di tombanyo, yir chakchen chenpo si je tenangje chubayen dengi, yir chakchen chenpo dang yir osar ni yir tombanyo, ojigda yir chen osar se du na tombanyo yir de chebe yir chen chakchen chenpo dang yir chen osar yendu, oda ti nyamne di ojigda chutuka nani da yuwa di si gugu yuwa yendu, osar marg mansara se, da mariwa mamba chiga tomba nya tabo goni mamba nani jang karise go dagdan zamba dangza mariwa mamba di somar chebe chani sangjaga yendu dadi chujiwa jisi.
The fourth Dharma is the Dharma of clear light, like the illustrative body clear light. Since since if one is a practitioner of the Father Tantra, in the context of the Father Tantra, then the practices on clear light is mentioned very, very briefly. So one should rely on the instructional features of the Mother Tantra, within which the practices of the clear light is far more detailed. So you have the objective clear light is the emptiness, and then you have subject and object. You have the object emptiness, which is clear light, and then the subjective clear light is that mind, which is in the realization of that object emptiness. So you have subject and object like that, and then the clear light has the connotation, just as light has the a way of counteracting or eliminating darkness. So here the mind, here the clear light here is what eliminates the darkness of the most great darkness, which is the darkness of our grasping at the truly existent self. So in that context, you have this fourth yoga, the yoga of the clear light. I mean the fourth Dharma of clear light.
Naru Chukanani, Poa don Tonju, Niga Zumzona, Tonka Chik the Dinis, the young Yuari, Dandana Tonju, Kijamandi Mato, the Poa Joya de and do, or Juda Poa de Chua Shama Chuda, but tens on which you have with Chetapuan, Yamni Chigu Yuaru, de and Dundana, Magum Sanji, San Yuari, Tito, the Nyango Goni Yer, Cheratons of Arimato, Poa Gumgo Rimato, Jondra Magia, San Giaji Mariwa, that the Nyango. Gonier, Chijuchin, the Gumgo, you are the Magum Sanji, the dinner, poet John, the Tarshan, but Silomaji, Joayana, or you 30 Ranchi going on in Rugorimato, Captu Tela to Gumna Traduna Wojima Gungi, or you tender Mabay and do Magum Sanji, Sanarimato, Magumba, Poa de Magumba, Poago Goni, Chuashamayaji, Wamariti, and Navadi.
The fifth Dharma is the transference of consciousness, and to this the text says it says Buddhahood without meditation, but it's just a way of saying, but there's no way one can attain any kind of result of Buddhahood without meditation. So here. In the 6 yogas of Narupa, you have transference of consciousness and the practice of transferring one's consciousness into dead bodies like that and bring them to life. But here in the 6 dharmas of Niguma, it doesn't mention the second feature, just transferring consciousness. So one engages in this practice so that in the future one may gain an appropriate, human body within which one has all the fortune to be able to practice Dharma. So for this, for this purpose, to ensure a very fortunate rebirth within which one can practice the Dharma, for this one engages in the practice of transferring consciousness. So here again, what it is although in the title it says Buddhahood without meditation, but it doesn't actually. It is not literal. It does not apply like that. Without training in it and without fulfilling the full measures of these practices, without preparation, one cannot come to such results.
Lamna Masin, Chutisina, Sentam Sanja, Lami Puana, Tonga Yanto, Yerudama Gosina, or Juda Pua de Tonga, Tenda, Jerugoni, John Derji, John Der Siloma, John Ayana, Deni, Chubo, Caps of Pua Jona, or Juda, and Yamlango City, Try and Dishama, Chuda, Tanzan, Lambala, Marat, Niver the Maratanga, which shooting in by and do Tenda Song Uding.
So just like in the Lama Choba, Penchulama, and Penchulos and Chigalson's Guru Puja, within that there's one stanza which says, if I do not complete the points of the path at the time of my death, help me. Through the Guru's transference of the, by employing the 5 powers, that particular stanza. So he, like in this particular stanza, then through employing the 5 powers and through the having trained oneself in these practices and having fulfilled all the measures of these practices, then through this through such transference of consciousness, then to be definitely to be assured of a rebirth in which one can engage in the continual form of Dharma practice.
어제 내가 예매인데 지라만 저비 퇴기도 전에 포화되라 도샤가 포화 정화지 나당지에 포화지 니상양의 요인데 단도 감도 나당지에 포화양의 요와.
So, like in the Lamchupa, when there's a mentioning of the transference of consciousness, you have these practices in the context of the sutra and in the context of the tantra. So here, what was just mentioned is the transference of consciousness in the context of the tantric practices.
어제 다 중나와다 다디니 주드반 타마디 다 바르도 갑데 임바인도 아즈마르지 제름가 나나 저와 주게 지발람지 바르도 남게 지발람 지르지 니와디 시온지데 임바인도 바르도 갑서 지발람 지르고 바르도 남게 지발람 지르 곰나다 첼롱한다 보지 정화에나 되니 저와 주게 지발람 지르디 첼롱하지에나 담본 집은이 갑서 다르디 정화엔도 저와디 주긴 오르지 딘토니 저와 지즈 샤마 바르도 지와지라야 대어 바르도 랑키 람지고 오르 포고고 요와엔도 바르도 제발랑코시 인지 바르도 카르제고 랑키 제발람치데라 무성고 요와엔도 다디 투바디 시앙이
So the sixth dharma is the dharma of the taking the pardo into the sambhogakaya, into the sambhogakaya. So just like in the practices of the generation stage yoga, you have taken the death into the dharmakaya, the pardo into the sambhogakaya. So in order to fulfill the full measures of enabling such a practice, then first and foremost, then one must enable at the time of death, enable the death to be, to enable or to be able to transform the death into the dharmakaya, and when one is able to ensure that or fulfill that, then one can enable taking the pardo into the conqueror's, the sambhogakaya body.
어제 다디나 임바인데 나그 주르게 주르고 당가디 된다지 지 디아니 단도 상상이 와라 가음이 소야 주르고 오서 검들이 노지 주르보디 지 정화까지 그 나그미 주르고 냠네 소예나요 디 나니요 소디 오서 그 냠네 디 소지 공고 요새는 상상고 요딩.
So, in accordance with in the Shambhakagya tradition, although the principal practice here is the 6 dharmas of Niguma, but is the principal practice. But here, meditating on the clear light of the amulet box tradition is also one of the principal features of this tradition, of the Shambhakagya tradition.
어제 다디나 임바인데 지 정화까지 그다 주르디 다디아니 여기 자와나 나데스는데 자와스디다 가서 주와나 해지지 요르 가면 나데스지 어다 코르니와데 임바인데 다디 타보까지 말아 저 달자와 임바인데 나데는 타브절란 천리 체제 지된 공부 자와 거드 유와나세 어다지요 타보까지 그 냐미 타보는 제가 로마디 지 르콘지텐 공부세지데 임바인데 양 르콘까지 그 나니 타마디 르콘 지텐 공부 말서 티테니 말다 쉬고 유딩.
So then the third, which is, we talked about the numerous traditions of Mahamudra. You have the simultaneous arising as merged, the amulet box, and the third is possessing the 5 here in the Thapukagya tradition. So the principal disciple of Thapu Rinpoche was Jiten Gombo. So this is explained in accordance with the Jigung Kagyu tradition.
어제 다디나 임바인데 지 아주 길리고니 지름부지 저바 상가와 첨부야 더마르지 암도니 여러 배우는데 지금 르콘이 말이지 어다더니 르콘글라마 지금 더니 어제다 보여냠네도 좀 말 담바도 좀 말시 되나지 농어야 남태양 연구요리.
Even when we study the life story of Lama Tsongkhapa, when he first came from Amdo, Eastern Tibet, then he spent time in the Digung area, and from a Lama in the Digung tradition. Then Lama Tsongkhapa took teachings on the Poa, transference of consciousness. When Lama Tsongkhapa, in Lama Tsongkhapa's teachings on the 6 yogas of Naropa, then he states that the lineage of these teachings to be from the Digung or Kagyu lineage.
Trommel hammer or G Manjon, some Mondunda, Netin, the Hosena, or Tombu Shanjuji, Nadengo Yamne, Jivala, Tombu Shanjuji, some did Silonwaji Gogoris, Shanjuji, Semlawadi, Shanjuji, some Silonwadi, Yona, Shanjuji, some Silonwadi, Pena. Tanda woji yamba yanati ta yapo de marishon yembengo lumba kabayan sala nam kadang yamba semje tamji kabayan sala yusala mandrin ji thomambon changna yang o ji da dini ji rang de mara ji den to ba ji yang di yang ma yang di shangju ji samla ro liwa yin di ba yin du shangju ji samde ngong den ro din da la ne ten ji go wen du se ne shangju ji samde o da nga den ga nang ni tambo la zhe yu ding
Rinpoche tati khasan
re changju ji samde da horse tin ji la pi jar ne o ji ta ya fa ji mar jong king ji ge xiong ya la zai de wo zai yang ding ji yin na chom man sang mang bu jin ro ge yo na ti na ma mar ro ya la sim sri wa ma ro pe tin ne ji la chao chao yo.
So here, possessing the 5 in accordance with the instructions of the Tapo Jiten Gombo. These possessing 5 are like what it is are the 5 main points of the practices to be incorporated. And so these 5 points are expressed in the form of a spiritual hymn. And the first of these 5 points of practice or 5 possessing, first of the 5 is the emphasis on bodhicitta. And then, when one has when one has developed bodhicitta, cultivated bodhicitta in its full measure, then that is like the analogy here utilized here is riding a really great horse, very powerful great horse. And then if you're a very powerful great horse and a skilled rider of this horse, then even if you're in the midst of a gathering of many people, you are able to ride. Because you are such a skilled rider and a skilled rider with a very great horse, you're able to control the horse without any kind of worry like that. Fully able to manage it with full confidence. So just like this analogy of a skilled rider on a really powerful horse or great horse, then the bodhicitta developing developing bodhicitta in its full measure is just like that, empowering like that in one's practice.
When when I did on Chanda, you got to go, Masama Winona, Marijigo, Tatsariona, Rio Amadua, the Garzago, Timu Dandragon on the zone, Tajon, that you Maran Chomiano, Mamujin Chomna Ginati, Uncle Tuati Tagan, Petin, I say on you, so Jean you just empty
Rinpoche says, like, for example, when you have these horse shows or horse races, where you jump many barriers, but if you have a great horse and a very skilled rider, these things mean nothing. You're able to manage it really well. So, that is the kind of the confidence and you have when you have a fully cultivated bodhicitta in one's practice. Then one is able to have that kind of confidence in one's practices, something like that.
Oji da ni Tsenshab di ngadi nganoni ngadi nganoni ambudi tinda chigda da teni yanju ron ju yedam la yi ko gomya ti jare yung yuari da di yandu ron lu la ki jare bo la jermi ji tensa masan na khandun khonba mandevi lu yedam la ne ten chi sena da ngadi nganoni nyua di rong lu di lik ngor gomya di da ngala mi ko goni de gongo yuari wa dorje zu kamni lu la ki jarbon rang je te lan jirmi ko tensa se ji tamarba nwa dan shenba choba ji ko goni te samba yana teni rang lu de la ji la yi ko san tiksam go shanlab de sar yang go ri te yongwa jen de khanru dan khanru ma de su shanlam da wo de rang go samlan de go ri se te ma san khanru khonbon de yo ma ri lu ye dam go la go ya de la ne ten ji go wen de se ne da di chiram go kap de ending.
The second of the five is, meditating upon the holy body of the deity. Here, basically, visualizing your body in the aspect of the divine holy body of the deity. Basically, here is the second point of emphasizing the generation stage yoga. When one has this practice, the meditating on the illusory nature in the illusory body of the divine body of the deity, then one is able to eliminate ordinary appearances and grasping, and through this one is able to receive the blessings of the holy body, speech and mind of the deity, and through such a visualization one is able to gather the blessings of the 100,000 dakas and dakinis. So without such a practice, without the blessings of such a practice of generating your own body, generating yourself into the divine holy body, one cannot, gather one cannot gather the blessings of the dakas and dakinis. So, so this is the second, the emphasis on the generation stage yoga.
Te yimba yendu ju dan de ngola mi la jarna ju chiram la jarang go yuarwa te yimba yendu di benjeno dan jinin go la man joba na yo ba ju jeje war du jeru kasam de jeru ramba tambu na ju ji tamar na ji trama kan jang de kona la krin cherwa shin ji lo sen uda chiram go kamna lam chir sam go gomni uda chiram de gom gwa ti gwa yena te gomba yena ji ramba tambu chiram go na ju de samba yena tamar go na shin
and so in the context of the highest yoga tanda practice, then this point emphasizes the practice of the first of the two stages, the generation stage yoga, as like how it is stated in the Guru Puja, Panchen Losang Chogi Gyaltsen's Lama Chopa, that verse which says, that verse, that verse which says, eliminating all the. It's the. We seek your blessings to cleanse all stains of ordinary appearance and grasping through the first stage yoga of transforming birth, death, and the pardo into the three bodies of Buddha, so that whatever may appear rises as the body of a yidam. So this is what is emphasized here. It is verse number 110.
Oji da dina yimba yendu da denga noni chukur niwaji That's somebody or you daddy, and then you are Lama Kiji Congrela, Mukiji Yamama Sharana, Shalabji Chijam Manjoi, Sem Gundala, knitting the horse in a Dalam Gonani and Lasokasa give it in Lama 10:30. Yivi Lamram Gona, Lamjita, Chinet and Tida Nichiba and do Rango to Chunyamne, Giago, Jibayan Sago, Lama Teon, Tino, Savi Lama Te, Mukichi, Chigo, Resiji, and Bayandu Lama, the Kaji Danya, that Chuko Longo, Chuko Longo Druko, some Gidio, Dari, Drukola Lontrini, Chukola, Chukodang, Wonyakuni. The yet Kajo, the Danya and the Yamba Gumgo Resity, Gumba Yana, Chipena, Kajing over the Conrad on the Vatela, Mukiji, Pena Conrad de la Yamama, Sherna Condishia, Mariva, or the Miatina, Yango, Shalabji Chijan, Congo Chitty on Yamua and do Tela, Mukigo, Yamati, Sharguati, Gogo, and do. Tela Razokotava Chinia Tensor, Tela Sambi Tensor, Jury Tensor, that Tensor on the Bachigo Goni, Kiwachimuji, Guati, and Bayanduti, Madingan on his Sambajan.
So, third of the possessing of the five is the Guru devotion, as stated within the Lamrim, that the root of the path is one's faith, devotion, faith, respect, and devotion to one's guru. And so, in expression of that, then one should visualize the guru as one's lineage gurus, and principally, then primarily one's own root gurus, to see the guru in the nature of the four. Having the nature of the four Buddha bodies. You have the four Buddha bodies. You have the form body, which is you have the within the form body of the, you have the Nirmanakaya and the Sambhavakaya, and then within then you have the you have the Dhammakaya, and then you have the Buddha's body of nature itself, the Swabhavakaya, holy body of the Buddha. So to visualize the guru in the nature of these four Buddha bodies. So the analogy that is utilized that is here is that in order to be able to receive the blessings of the guru, then it is important that one has that kind of faith, devotion and respect towards the guru, and to rely upon the guru in one's thoughts and his, in the purity of one's thoughts and one's actions. So, if you were to visualize four great mountains, in order to four great snowy mountains, and it is only when the sun shines that you can get the water from these. From these four great mountains. So in the same way, just like the melting snow of the four great mountains, with the that happens only when you have the sun shining. To receive the blessings of the guru, then it is through the expressions of our faith, devotion, and respect, and the pure devotion expressed in our thoughts and actions, that one can receive the blessings of the guru. So guru devotion is the third of the possessing of the five. So you can see in the Guru Puchalamachapa text, when reviewing the stages of the path, then you have this point emphasized: through the power of having made offerings and respectful requests to you, O holy and venerable gurus, supreme field of merit, we seek your blessings, O protectors, and root of well-being and bliss, that we may come under your joyful care. In the same way, in the foundation of all good qualities, it says, that the first verse. Can you say? The foundation of all. is the kind and venerable Guru.
The kind holy Guru is the foundation of beauty.
Okay, here I will read again. Seeing that the kind holy Guru is the foundation of good qualities, and that proper reliance on the Guru is the root of the path, I seek your blessings to rely on the Guru with great respect and constant devotion.
Oji da di ngi da somebody to da you are the inji da tombanya goya de indu semji dengo oda semni ji nam ka yong ala nam ta ko chen sa ma da na chen ji zakar ma ta wi sem ma tang da la ne ten do se na oji da da jing ma shang ju ji shang kun du shang ju ji sem shang ju ji sem de ma sang char yu wa ri ma ga na ni dong bu ji yu wa ri da ni semji dengo dong ni de gom ya de so ma yin du semni ji nam ka se gu sem go dengo ji tombanya de chu dam ji la chaba yin du nam ka na je semji dengo nam ka dang da ba chu dam ji rong jin ji de bi tong ding yi go ni ji tong we ni ser dong me ba ti nam ka yang bo de ji de ni za dang karma dang ni da de zo charya de tan du go yo na zheng gen chang di ma zhe de yo na din tong ya yo ma ri wa din ra yin du nam da go zheng ben chang de ji me wa ji dong wa ji yin na chen ni ji de du na oji da kar se go kundu demba chembe yong de na tong de demba di demba ni ji za dang karma la sa ba chaya me wa yin du o da nam ka tong wa yin na di tong ya yin ba yin du o da sem ma ta wa se na dong me ba sem ji teng go dong me ba tong ba nyan da la ne ten de go gun de se ne song jang.
So the fourth of the five, possessing of the five, is the meditation on emptiness. Here, the meditation on emptiness is here. What is emphasized is meditating on the emptiness of one's mind, of one's mind. Emptiness which pervades all phenomena, and so here. So here the meditation here is the focusing on the emptiness of the mind, the selflessness of the mind, and just like when you that meditation, the analogy utilized here is in order to see all the stars, the galaxy of the stars of the in the space or in the sky. The sun, moon, in order to see all the galaxy of the stars in the space or sky, then the sky needs to be totally clear of all the obstructing clouds. So in the same way, in order to, in the same way, then, one needs to remove all the superstitious conceptual thoughts of the mind. In order to see the space-like, empty nature of the mind. Just right. Okay.
Oji da din ra yin ba yin du ji da de yang ji gar ze go ama ji fa da zo na china jima ma nam da tong so na da zi ji yin da na din ba me ba zhe tong ni ji mi tan zhen zo ba chen ji lo si ji de ji oji da de ni kon di rang ji de zhe ji mi dan zo ba chen ji lo kon di rang ji de zhe me ba da ji mi tan zhe ba me ba ni ban zhen gar mi zhao zhen ji ba yi zhe zhe guang dong ta ba chen ji lo si na u da chu lo ga ni ge go ni gong bo le zhe ge ma ra gong ba ji da ba ji de tong ba ni ta ba ni zhe di xi go go re se ne song zhe ye ba dan zo tong ji di yin ding.
So here Rinpoche is quoting again from the Lama Chopa text within these stanzas, 107, which says, "We seek your blessings to perfect samadhi on illusion by realizing how all external phenomena lack true existence, yet still appear like a mirage, a dream, or the image of the moon on a still lake." And then verse 108, which says, "Samsara and nirvana lack even an atom of true existence, while cause and effect and dependent arising are infallible. We seek your blessings to discern the import of Nagarjuna's thought, which is that these two are complementary and not contradictory." So, realizing emptiness exactly as how Nagarjuna instructed.
어디다 디라yen bayandu dadi chungi nani da yivadi ji ja chungaba tamadi dandana da zong yuwa changni yujin jinno changni yujin norwa la molam ji chedur ma shi na gundu ji shen tanli man jong yi jing wan da la ne ten zo se na 어디다 ngwa se je di goni dan changni se du sonam dang yi jin changni se yang gu yuwa ji changni ji gwangbang to ba la sonam dang yi jin changni da ji dang ni shuwa na ji ri sonam yi jin chok so de san changni yi je gu gu yuwa changni sa gu gu yuwa ri de pe na ji sonam dang yi jin changni bo de jam zi nang gu ji rimbo ji do ra din ra yin ba yin na rimbo ji do ji yin na dang bo 타우디 말지 드마당 드바가 말 드디우디 와르와 된 저지가 고니 말 잡거도 말 시 서보디 말 시는 말 지금 잠보다 되니 난거지다 가다가 옛날 지금 로몬다 옛날이 셔도디 온다고 좀 인정고를 와디 엔도 뭐람 거지 셔도디 잠본다고 마땅하지 로바데 요나 군도 근천리시 보진다고도 셔도 인정야 요와 말이 때엔도 소남당 시진 성니보디 섭구 섭바디라 요 말지 계신다고 잠나 성마장나 온초와디 지고거리세는 다딘 초와디 뭐와당 모남세지디 깔침보 연바연두디 돈생 나바시 자유디니.
And the fifth of the possessing of the five is the making the importance of making prayers and dedication. In order to attain enlightenment, then one must accumulate the two types of merit: the merit of virtue and the merit of transcendental wisdom. So here the analogy utilized here is like, when we excavate precious gems from the bottom of the ocean or the ground, even though it might be a priceless gem initially, then it is it's like covered in dirt. So one needs to get rid of the dirt and the roughness, and then as one cleans it up more and more, then you see the color, you see the different patterns of the lines and the shine. And so that like this process, like this analogy, then eventually you have the attainment of enlightenment. So through the accumulation of the two types of merit, of merit of virtue and merit of wisdom, then through such a process, then one can bring forth the light of one's enlightenment. So the fifth basically is the prayers and dedications.
어디다 디나 연바 연두 주다 뭐다 뭐남 세지디 깔침보 연바 연두 무슨 삼면다 바자 바바 건데 정부 말 정쇼 뭐남 되나 지 제지 장주 셈바 뭐남 멈춰 지 담바세나다 디나 망부지 말서 두네 네동 강가 누 바로 지고 나 성저가고 제지 장주 셈바 뭐남 강가 서 두네 장쇼 뭐남 세지디 좀난 요아르와티 유마 연두 디 난고 양년 근다고디 ngazui yang zhou lan jebra ba wi jitan chen ba dang si je te dang wa jitan tin chou go da di chulu ga ni bo di ngwa gong ga go nyen kun zhou wo shi du ja ga de song a yin du ji ge gi wa ji sang na yu ge ni ji ge zang chou mo lam ge nang ge jebra ba wi ni xu ya di mo lam jia chen bo ji ge shi dur xi ge yu wa yin du de zon di nyam nen de di no chang di yu di ni.
So to emphasize the importance of prayers and dedications, then you have these extended prayers of dedication, like the king of prayers dedication, Samantabhadra's the prayers, 100,000 prayers, so the essence of such as these prayers then are in the two stanzas, just as the Bodhisattva, Samantabhadra and Manjushri, dedicated that particular verse. So within that is the essence of those longer prayers of dedication. Did I cover everything? Did I miss out anything?
Oji Bena Jidi, Moamonam Conto Jin do on at the Son you are. Chatter Jamsu Chino, Chetu Jamsu Mali, Jamsu Masi or the Timanzi. Oji de Piti Kunada, Chatter Yang, which on Chugivayansi, Namkadanya Basanji, Tamjikat on the Chanchuji compound, Sanji compound to be heard the Lugu Goni Shoutin, Magogoni, Songochin, Iji Goni, Gumdachi Javayana, T. Conga Tinaga Chet, Muzavayana, Jamsu Chambino, Chitilama, Chancho Matova, the Timanzi, and that Pitoni Tinaji journey songs of you.
She made a quotation from the sutras saying that, like, if you, in the sutras there's this analogy of, if you put a drop of water into a vast body of an ocean, until the ocean dries up, you still have the atomic particles of that drop of water that one put in. So, that drop of water that one put in lasts for as long as that ocean lasts. In the same way, then, when we do any kind of virtuous activity, physically, one prostration, verbally, a recitation of mantra, mentally, a meditation. And when we do these activities with the thought, dedicating it for the enlightenment of each and every sentient being, pervading the infinitude of space, then that particular merit lasts, until then.
Orida Dinda Yimbayandu, that Dinda go. You that you tabo read tabo gajikalo matan the congaji you think was you think read tabon you think gombi marasango da ngade sijita you turn that need something to the need that yon to the jikirana yon the Korean Kartanga the Korean Tawanda national.
So this completes the instructions based on the Digun Kagyu traditions, the instructions received from the Thabo Kagyu as taught by Thabo Jiten Gombo. So we'll stop here for today, and if you have questions whether any of these points taught today or yesterday, you can ask your questions. Yesterday, someone put their hand up and then didn't get to ask their question. You can start.
Who's not here? I have a question.
Okay.
About the fourth point on the six dharmas, the dharma of clear light. You were talking about in the father and mother dharma, and then you were talking about the object of emptiness is clear light, and then you were talking about the subject emptiness, but I wasn't sure exactly what you meant.
Ori daji yere was the yere chakja chimbo sijit, then you got you in dingy, Tombanya Rola Kudingi. That Yerjan was there down, Yerjan chakja chimbo sijit, Tombanya Yerdishiba Yerjan, Yerjan Yamba Lion, Dosagani, Tombanya Yerdishiba, Yerjan, the low drop Yerdishika Yuari. Daily Sabra Town, Shandan Travel, Sim Tramu, Tramunan in Tramu, Sim Shandan Travel, Sim Tramu, the Tombanya Yerdishib, Yerjan de, or that Yerjan was there down, Yerjan Shagja Chambo and Bayandu, or that Yero was there down, Yerjan was there, Yer Shagja Chambo down, Yerjan Shagja Chambo said you didn't you ding.
Rinpoche says you have the object clear light, which is the object, the object clear light, which is the same as the object Mahamudra, which basically is emptiness. Okay, then you have the subject clear light and the subjective clear light and the subjective mind of the subjective Mahamudra, which is that mind realizing that emptiness, apprehending that emptiness. So when you take that subjective mind, in the sutra is a more coarse state of the mind, and in the tantra is a more is a subtle state of the mind, is a subtle mind, is that subjective mind. In tantra, it's subtle, not just subtle, but it is the subtlest state. It is the not just subtle mind, but it's the most subtle. It is the most subtle mind, the subjective mind of clear light. So this is the same as like you have the objective Mahamudra and the subjective Mahamudra. It's the same as that subjective mind of clear light, realizing emptiness.
Or you that then you got pay that Javayana, or you burn out you signing us in the need to Davas Unila, Tivayana, Davas Union, Zonzomla, Davacheka, Zonzomla, Davanyako, Cherko, your body, Tavarambo, then Tonjin Tongo, you are Davas Union, the year was sent over. To Tavarambo in Tonga, Tedan, Tavarambo in Tonga, the year was sent away in Dimi. Dama Rokit down that then he. Davatana Marava, Dani, Davanitzer, Tonati, Yero was there done. Tongigo, Muddy, Tony Mara, Nither Gary and Dugna, Yonati, Yirgin was there no winding.
So, I'm just utilizing an example to illustrate this point. When you look at the moon, no matter how far away it is, then you can see half moon or full moon. So that half moon or the full moon is like the object. It's like the object, and the mind seeing that moon is the subjective mind. And then, say, for example, when you go into space, go to the moon, and you see you arrive on the planet Moon. That is the object, and then the person seeing that planet is the subject.
To the subjective primordial mind of clear light, all phenomena appear as a play of this mind. Can Rinpoche explain what they mean by this word play?
Yuchen Nume Russell La Kanawa Nawa Tamche Di Jubas Rushnabo.
Read Lobson and read that Korangan Yirgin was there till non-chaji, non-chati, Sarbuji Nangu, Sarbuji Nangu, you are not the Yirgin was there the some Tramuji and by and duty, and Noyerka Chala, some good Shinda, Sarmasargo Charti Shikimuji dog the Udini.
Mr. Cranston, the Nawa Tamche. Nume Huseki Chua Sure Namrel said Dilla Deshich Yoronas. Namrel said.
What you that is one you were known Yeji Rova to me than the diversity were Yeji Rova said Yeji Shivatela Konwati. The Korango no liter, but the cut tabana, you vari. That is the Gua Garisena, to Cherdon, and was with Samla, to Gava Gachik Divano Adon, or that the Marinoya said duty, Yerko Yen Charter Goni, Samla Chabujon Adon, Samla Dinger Joachi, Nanga Yua and do Coin and Yeji Rova. Yetela no Yerko or Guachi ending, the Yeji Rova said it in that ending.
So to see, seeing all appearances as like the dance or a play of the mind, is that in our mind when we experience whatever happiness or suffering, those experiences come due to whatever appears as one's object. Did I get that right?
Chipura Gona, Lada, Mada, Yadosam go, Tiu Tina, Sosu, Semga, no wonder what de la Mandava, some Charia di Tasa di Chipura Combo Chibori di Mala Chirangava Chinandingi, Chirangava number chardingi, Alhala Dirti number chardingi, there's a non Shujian Yudingi, or Juda Yatavla, Nagtraka number chardingi, then Tonyon Marangi, Tindago, no I Charvati, Chichibuji, and yes, Semgo, Rwanda with the Chariat in the Sam Yudingi.
Rinpoche says to illustrate this point is like when a bowl of water is perceived, as a human being, it is perceived as water. It appears as water, and also it is experienced as water. And when the devas, see that same bowl of water, they see it as nectar and also experience it as nectar. And then when the predators see that same bowl of water, they see it as appears as a blood and pus, and is also experienced as blood and pus. So so it's similar like that. That all of our experiences of happiness, suffering occurs due to our appearances, and those appearances are the dependent on our mind.
So what is the play of the clear light?
Play. Crying is namrul kharedesa.
It's
not a great question.
Was there a Tombanya Gomna? Titango, year Titango, was there a Tombanya, year was there a Tombanya Gombo, year Jingu Shua de la Tombanya in Chartanga Naruji.
You have the object clear light, and then to the subjective mind of clear light, how that emptiness appears. Yeah. Rinpoche says you have the object clear light, which is emptiness, and the subjective mind realizing the emptiness, and how emptiness appears to that mind is the play.
Rinpoche mentioned the samatha and vipassana. In the highest yoga tantra, it's mainly samatha in the generation stage, and vipassana in the completion stage. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Rinpoche tanda shine dal hatun seyadi lame on the chabre and kedim chadi shine che and zorun chadi hatun chabre.
Really?
Yes. In the context of the highest yoga tantra, then calm abiding is accomplished on the generation stage, and the special insight on the completion stage. Practice.
They in Bayandu, the Amasambo Kamni, Lochika Noyer like Noyati, Hika Noyati Shini, and Mubal Hakala Musiji, Lochibu Noyer Chani Shini, Near Haka Nona Range, Maber New Chani, Tombanya Goya, and Lochika Noyer Dang Yerla, Tajinyamne, Cherabjinyamne, Nika Tong, the Toji, Lochibodi, Tenin, do Chuzikani, Dravia, Lochika when I Yudingi. Or you that in that it won't mind by saying you are Nola Mila, Luchibo de Shandan travel, some time with Chikatani on Yudingi.
So in the three lower tantras, within the scope of one mind, then you have the appearance being the holy body of the deity, and the ascertainment, appearance and the ascertainment of that holy body, although appearing, not having true existence, not having existence from its own side. So, in the three lower trances, you have, within this one mind, due to appearance and ascertainment, appearance of the deity, ascertainment of it being empty of inherent existence, then you are able to accumulate simultaneously both the causes for both the truth and the form body of the Buddha. In the highest yoga tantra, the mind experiencing that appearance and ascertainment is a much more subtle level of the mind.
Is there ever a situation where someone attains shine on the completion stage level?
Zorim la tani zoring nyamlen la tani in shine duba in the yorves.
Zorim Gananjula tennis.
No.
Zorim Gananjula tennis, and it was you Amarawai. Zorim go on the Chirim to go you and the Chirim go cups some jogum, some teach the Nivati Jirsi. Tea tani, tea, noir, the Nivati tani, near the Tombaya tea tani, Gorum Chidu.
Rinpoche says no, because you see, prior to completion stage, you have to engage in the generation stage. And it is in the generation stage where you engage the mind in that kind of single point of focus on the holy body of the deity. And then in the completion stage, you do the ascertainment of it.
Monday Jenny de Tijini, Langdon to go in this song young you are young. Jenny dan Hondoni Jendi Yena young, Jenny dan Hondoni, you are shell of Song and River Captain, you got Yandan Dungu you are. Tea and Bayana, Cherish Shelani Jendi Yancy. Yandan Zumba Capti, Chichar the Tokuyu and the team Seri Sang you are.
Usually, in the context of the sutra, calm abiding and the special insight is cause and result. First, you have to have calm abiding, and then the special insight. But in the case of the unified practice of the calm abiding and special insight, both can be accomplished at the same time, and that's just a unique feature of the practice.
Fernando Jidiji Kamni Luchika Noyerla, Tombanya Tabaishiga Ranjan Jango Hik, Noyati Sur Mubala Jagni, Shenitavia. What you that any on Zomnayon, Hakun, non divati, non la Ranjan, Mebati, Tangatani, the Gumbayana, Hontan Gumbayingu Yuari, or that thing you got range of the Wichiga Gongo Gongo China, then you Shenidan Hontan, you got Namshina, Song and Rivachiga on the Yonji Ding.
So, but in general, it is said that calm abiding and special insight is cause and result. You can have, like, for example, by a mind generating the transcendental wisdom mind, realizing emptiness, then engaged in the practice of the calm abiding, or you can have generating the calm abiding on your appearance. Of the holy body of the deity, on the basis of that calm abiding, then meditating on the emptiness of it, like that. So you can do this kind of alternate practice of while generating the mind of transcendental wisdom, realize the emptiness, then remaining in calm abiding, or while engaged on the single point of focus of the holy body of the deity, then ascertaining the emptiness. So one can do this alternate practice over and over again, so that eventually the two become unified.
Dosa yana shela niga mar jindi yamba yendu tselonga ni ramba yenda chugu yu wari de ngawla ji yerjen chi ko no yer dang yer ku chani yamba yendu mugpa tesa go mugir ku chani shela chicher den raba yon sa ko re sen sa ga di thamo ma yamba chi ju yending yang ji karse go ngaja go kapse shela niga ji chicher den raba ngiwaro ayode
So in the sutra, calm abiding and the special insight is a graduated practice. Is a cause and effect. Calm abiding being the cause for the special insight. But in Tantra, because of the practice of the appearance and ascertainment, where the object of one's calm abiding, the appearance is also the object of the ascertainment. So in that way, there is a point in the context of the Tantra practice that one is able to accomplish calm abiding and the special insight at the same time. But this is because of the unique feature of these practices that you have an occasion to such a simultaneous result.
Jirumuji Sangha Lamram Changana Dindago Chadao Chicher Dendreba Nichi Yu Sama Samada Sawo meeting it Shigan Kuadazu that Jirumuji Lamram Chamani Sonya de Do Changangari Manding Magni Sanjaga Dela Gonita Sanjaga and Rishi Jakiwaru.
Like in some of the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa, it says that there is an occasion to the simultaneous accomplishment of the calm abiding and the special insight, but it does not detail as to how it is accomplished. And so the latter day scholars say that Lama Tsongkhapa made that statement based on Tantra, like that.
So, could you also ask me, is there ever a time when Tantric practitioners use the Sutrayana methods to attain Shina?
Ngagi lamla nyamlen chini zu ani kar dogi nal sun shaben sunba shisungi nyamlen cheni shine dumi ayus chida ngapa che nyamlen chini de ngapa sroche nya ngapa yimbe shi shania dogi chone chige shine doptan chi suyo ba di kranzu nyamlen su kini yorves
Daddy Judy Kola Dono Mehanda Nizar Machine Yonsana Tomato de Ngapanyamne this Doganyan Chakonga Chinese sovereign Roadon Dinagan researching Niwaji Yena Yakshu did damn good about Sound Amazon.
Rinpoche said if the practitioner was very smart, would choose, if you're already a Tantra practitioner, you have such profound techniques already involved there in your Tantra to employ those. So unless you didn't know or something like that, then you would rely on the the basic sutra practices. But within that, if you the mentality is to choose whatever is the best for you. So if you knew, then you would choose that, like that Rinpoche said.
Penaji Tongona Jala Damamuji and a Jala Yashudi, Tongon Jenda Conga Dernati, Damguri Telayon, Yoshiki Chachin Masona, Nitzer Kakari Mata, Chachin Tona, Yashudi Zana, Tili Choati Damgumarua.
Like Rinpoche said, if you went shopping and there were a lot of things, and if you had the choice, you would choose whatever is the best. You wouldn't go choosing a lesser thing when you know there's a better thing around. But of course, if you don't have the money to pay for it, then that would be another matter. Like Rinpoche said, if you don't have the causes and conditions for it, then that would be another matter. Go ahead.
Is the calm abiding of Sutra and the calm abiding of Tantra the same in the sense of having generated bliss and pliancy? For example, in Ayashiga Tantra, the wings are entering the central channel. Then
don't make it too complex.
So maybe just ask the question then, the first part.
Chone shine sumata ngagi chone shine de chikperves tena sem shinjangi dewa se cholwa dogi chone sumata sem shinjangi dewa ngagi chone shine dubrechin te chikperves
Deva Yamba Chibanda Wori, Deva Rutin Ragu Amarva, Deva Chili Chitonde.
Rinpoche says, like the bliss and the pliancy that one experiences in the calm abiding in the Sutra and Tantra is the same, but it's not the same kind of bliss and pliancy that one experiences. The type of bliss.
It's the same, it's not the same.
How do you say? It is same in being bliss, but it's of a different category, say.
That's different.
It's of a different category of bliss and pliancy that one gets to experience. So you want to ask more? Let's ask more.
So I think my understanding is that in my mind there's some confusion because if the winds are entering the central channel and your mind is single pointed, and all.
You're talking from the point of view of Tantra.
Yes, for example, on Tuma practice.
On Tuma practice.
then, for example, if you attain shine on that, what is the difference between that shine and the shine attained in the sutras?
This is the Rinpoche. Tumun yamlen cheni lung ganga tsa omana duche di thone shine dubare chine di Xinjiang dewa da tanda chitan do kyangbune sume Xinjiang dewa ni le khewa khayone.
Ori
Krangi ta ngagi thone shine dubya de tanda tumul migni lung thamche tsa omana duche dil tumul mikpa cheni di thone kran shine gomya ra chik sigdo di Xinjiang dewa da
ri tamola mi ba de ngak na ni ma ji ko ni gi waro ma da de ba ji ko ni ji ge ti tamu ti ni ta wa de ta wa mi ti ni la mi ba ma yin ba so an di wa so yin na ba mi ya ni la mi ba ji mi ma ni la mi ba da ka la chaw da ji jin ko lo yin na ba mi ya ni la mi ba din da ga ya na ma na yon da gi wa ma ro
Rinpoche says, like even focusing on utilizing tumo, focusing on the drawing the winds within the central channel, the awaditi of the central channel, and then focusing on the navel is in accordance with the Mother Tantra. Then accomplishing shine on the basis of Tantra. Then in accordance with Gosmaja, then you focus on the lower tip of the central channel. In accordance with the Kala chakra, then you focus on the upper tip of the central channel. Kran Senata Tanda Tande Di Nyamlen Tone Zorun Nyamlen Tone Kasure di shine di thomne Xinjiang gi dewa da do kyangba gi mikpa ra chene Xinjiang dewa tini ni khewa
o de che bre yo re gi de da shi na nam ka da long tan na jing ge je chi jang din da yo nam ka da la bun tin na jing ge je chi jang
Rinpoche said the difference between the two types of bliss bliss and pliancy experience is like the difference is like the space and the space in the palm of hand. Like the bliss that you experience, bliss and pliancy that you experience through through focusing on these points, is like the space, and what you experience on sutra is like the space of the palm of your hand. Go ahead.
In the Lamrim tradition, on the section on Guru devotion, one try to see the Guru as Buddha, right? But all the quotes come actually from tantric scriptures. So it's like a preparation, because one thinks that anywhere one is going to practice tantra, so one already tries to see the Guru as Buddha. But how would one practice that if one has no intention to practice tantra, or if one is a Hinayana practitioner or a Mahayana practitioner, would one still see the Guru as Buddha, or how would one really see the Guru?
Rinpoche tanda lama sangye su tawa sen chora. Di chogi lapche tenzu kanga ngagi thogi suna ni kyan reshas. Tabe tanda lama chube go ne che reshin ta lamri ta go thangbu te ta shuloka thangbu te shinen tenzu ko yine ta di ta chis shugo yang kura ngagi nyamlen chia mikpo migyu yue santa di chene digores. Pena ngalam thola nyamlen chiagi inde migyu sani menye pena tepu membe temen chogdine di lama sangye sutaya di khandes chogres.
No da ti tamen ge changda yena lama sangji da ga di kiche yo ma rewa lama kadre chembori sam ya ga ta ya chi ma to yo ma re de migri je chi jong chi to
so like for example in the Hinayana path, there is you don't deal with seeing the Guru as Buddha at all. You just think of the Guru as being extremely kind, and that's as far as your way of thinking goes. So it's just the difference in how you reflect upon the kindness of the Guru. On one you have seeing the Guru as the ultimate form of kindness in being Buddha, and then on the Hinayana, or when you don't have the objective to study, to practice Tantra, then your sphere of thinking with regards to Guru is just limited to being the Guru being extremely kind. That's about it. Like, for example, some of the bhikkhus, like the ordained monks in the Thai tradition, like that, they say, yes, there is the attainment of enlightenment, but like you're probably better off seeking your own liberation first, or that's more manageable, kind of, you have that kind of way of thinking or attitude.
So
because of that kind of mentality or way of thinking, then you don't even accept the Mahayana teachings, and then when you don't accept Mahayana teachings, then forget about the Tantric teachings.
So the Guru as an arhat or as a learned elder, what quality would you try to see in the teacher?
You're talking about in the Hinayana path, like teaching do shisun da anya temeng lam chone samtam bre sange lama sange sutawati mena ani lama dachum bataya ta lame yonden contest tawres
ori da lami yonde muzen thaya yu dingi ge thani shi kan shu dang nang ge samlo tang dang de zui chani ta ya ma ta yo ma.
The way to think about the qualities of the Guru is the qualities that you see in the Guru, in the way, in their mental qualities, in their way or outer conduct, in a way of inner attitude. So, it is just on those bases that you see the qualities, and that's it. And Matthew? Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead.
I'll go first. I would like to hear Kirti Rinpoche comment on the following issue that I'm aware of. According to Gambopa, he thought that one of the methods in the Naropa 6 Dharma, one of the versions, unfortunately, one of those versions.
One of the 6 yogas?
Right. Actually, there's 2 versions of them. And one of the versions indicating that there's this Dharma called robbing the house. I only know the Chinese
Robbing
term.
the house.
Right. It's called robbing the house method. And he thought this is deviated. And I'm wondering if Kirti Rinpoche can comment on that.
You're talking about 6 yogas of Naropa?
Yeah.
Okay. Robbing the house. Kransana Gambopa gi Naro Chudu Chorwa. Dina Lola Chuchik or robbing the house. Chuchik Dirishas.
That's the Chinese translation.
Gagator Yushavna Chuchik Dirishas Kanga Kumanjawa. Kanga Nalo Chala Kumanjawa Chora. Robbing the Kanga Nalo Kumanjawa Chora. Dinde Chik Chirishas. Dilla Deshakana. I could see the normal.
Dina and Mujela Kumbu Motus, the Security, Kumbu Kamago Trudo. There
is a term used similar, which is recognizing the thief. Recognizing the thief is like all your mistaken ways of thinking that kind of, deceive you, in your life. Your negative ways of thinking that kind of deceive you in your life. Then recognizing those. There's a term like that. I don't think there's something as like robbing the house, but recognizing the thief, definitely.
Then the Karasego, Kidu Jango Nanjo, Dina, Mujela, Kumbu to Shi Johnson was it that command agent down the Maria that the Surudi, Lu non trigenry, Lu Gokurtang is, command agent is, they want to go this. Konzuji Chutan Jitamba Jamata Yanditan in Jiparty.
So, like, like in the instructions of Kedo Kyumbo, he states the importance of the practice of recognizing thief. Here, what it means is recognizing the deceptive mind of the ignorance grasping at true existence, how it is a delusional, totally mistaken state of mind which totally deceives you. All these obscured phenomena, conventional phenomena, like being like an illusion. So in that way, is what is a practice known as recognizing the thief, basically recognizing one's mistaken states of the mind. Okay.
It could be that the method actually related to using the dead body to do the transferring of the consciousness.
Which one? Where are you going now?
So the house actually in Chinese term can be used as a body. For example, the body housing the consciousness. So in that situation, so it could be that using the dead body as a cultivated method.
Tanda naru chudu nalia tanda poada dichiara chongju la khumendo swar prangi tanda khanga kuma jabasa khanga said khanga da lukuma jabata mi it's indel mendos swar prangi
ete yeshiji bwa rangju jidu yen ji ko meshi de ji ko rodi na la chua de shi go yo ra chanda ho dai ji
Rinpoche says yes, in the when you transfer the consciousness into another dead body and bring it to life, then yes, there is a practice like that, and it could mean, like you say, through robbing the house could be like robbing that dead body. I don't know. No, actually, Rinpoche says like that. There is a practice where you transfer your consciousness into a dead body like that.
When dharma marvasi dharma dudi mar gomba zagna da teni tabasanga dombo se ji jagar ko jerbu khap ko rom pensa teni ji jerbu ji ko si ji chede ti roti la mar shigna teni tabasanga dombo se ji ti chiwa yuar wa o da ti da chandra na chikyo jirwa.
Rinpoche says Rinpoche tanda damado te gomba zodu kan di krang
marvasi dharma dudi wa taga taga tan gomba zagna da chama tongji ji na jerbu khap ko mari kanone da jerbu khap na jerbu ji ko si ji ko ro ji tana hem du chome ba ji te tongji ji se na te ro dina tambo phurong ji ga ji tani lam khan ro yo chama yo da jagar ko jerbu khap ko te ro se na chama ro ni da ji ti li te dila shi ba ro
like when Marpa's son Dharmadoti, when he passed away, I think he had an accident on the horse and he passed away, and Marpa wanted him to transfer his consciousness into an intact body of a prince in Yabukap, it's somewhere like around Rajgriha, but then before that his consciousness got transferred into the body of a bird. And then the bird lost its way, and there's a whole story before it managed to transfer into the body of that prince. That is just a story. So, any other question?
I want to ask Rinpoche why Rinpoche said that in Sutriyana the calm abiding and special insight are causal. And then it's a unique fact of Tantra that it can be simultaneous. And I'm wondering why it couldn't be the same in Sutriyana. It seems like if you're doing shine, for example, on visualizing the body of the Buddha, couldn't you be visualizing that, but at the same time be aware that it's empty? Be sort of cultivating those simultaneous.
Rumchige dogi on the chabra shine dal handong yundes rochi. So anya ngag thon sumra shin dini ya chikasre chi the dube chi catchu mixe catchu sungor ba. And di catchu di dochol chene digdo sore inde and inchi minchi correct yundes mixe shagwa and the spanner di tanda now that you use chick sugar, the di nyamnen di ta dochogi mikpadla dagran kebration and chikcha duyatos mixe
Yenji mara ngaka nyamne din do jiden ke tawni ngaka de par yijaga mayemba du tena nombi jaga ingi waro te du ke wari de ti ngaka nombi jaga wari nombi majewa ni tan chi wari wa
Rinpoche says, like usually the standardized thing is that sutra is like the foundation for one's tantric practices, and on one's sutra practice, if you want to add the unique technique of the tantra to do that, you can add that feature. The practices of the tantra are like the additional features to whatever you are familiar on the sutra. Do you want to clarify that? It's okay.
aji din yendu ngaka lam gongi di do lam de par yijaga mayense ke wari ti tena nombi chi jamne do ma sangdir se du
Tantra doesn't mean that you forget about sutra, or you do away with sutra, but it's not like that. Practice of tantra is what you add on to your sutra practices.
mas kala ju zo yana kala di tena joa chirin joya la ji menda ta yana mabu yaro o ta ti ka ma ta na do ni je ba kala da no ni je ba kala si la la me dingi
It's like when you eat food, you can add many features to make it more tasty, like that. It's not like it's like that but it's not like you have one food for the sutra and one food for the tantra. It's not like that. It's like something you enrich